Hey there. I hope you're taking it easy today. Have you ever had one of those days where you're just too tired to think? It's been one of those days for me. And I guess I'm just too tired to process my thoughts. I'm tired of having to predict and calculate and hypothesize and postulate. I'm just tired of it all. And I just want to have a break. But I think that you never really stop thinking. You never really stop having thoughts in your mind unless you carve out a specific time in your day to having no thoughts. And that could be through meditation or through just sitting with yourself and not having thoughts whatsoever. Many people can reach that no thought zone in different ways. But you never really stop thinking because it's part of the human experience. It's part of being a human alive in this dimension, in this reality. And I think even the people that are monks or that follow an ascetic lifestyle, they have thoughts too. They have to think about eating, and they have to think about when to go to bed, and think about maybe they have less choices to make in their lives because they've chosen an ascetic life and they've chosen to have a certain routine that doesn't require much complex thinking. But I do think that living an ascetic life robs you from the authentic human experience, because part of this human experience is to engage with complex thinking and use those skills to be able to make your own conclusions about the world. And whether you're right or wrong about the conclusions that you come up with about your life, about the world, about whatever it is, it's a unique perspective, and it's your perspective, right? It's a perspective that will never exist. There are times where people do follow cults and they follow certain dogmas that force them to think black and white, or force them to think in a way that pigeonholes them. But nevertheless, I would also argue that every human, even if they're following a specific dogma, they will experience that dogma through their own lens and through their own experience of the environment that they find themselves in, or their upbringing, their background, right? So no perspective will be exactly the same. And I think living an ascetic life, although it's laudable, I'm not trying to bash people that have chosen ascetic lifestyles, or criticize those that have chosen something that they feel has benefited their lives. That's laudable, and wow, I don't think I could do that with my own life. But my opinion is that in order to fully, and like, this is my opinion, of course, so in order to have a life well lived, you have to experience different things in your life. And that means you have to experience suffering and pain and joy and sorrow and happiness and love and all of these kinds of emotions and feelings and states of mind, because I think they open a version of yourself that you wouldn't have discovered if you wouldn't have allowed yourself to experience, let's say, love or sorrow or even joy. Some people self-flagellate and they inflict suffering on themselves because they believe that they don't deserve to be happy, right? And I think that's a very narrow perspective. And of course, this is my opinion. But pigeonholing yourself to only experiencing one thing and not allowing yourself to experience the wide array of emotions, of states of mind that exist in the world, in my opinion, that's not a life well lived. This is my opinion, of course, and this is my bias, and these are the conclusions that I've come up with in my journey. For example, there are priests, clergymen, monks that are not allowed to fall in love. They're not allowed to have any kind of relationship with anybody of the opposite sex or even of the same sex, like any kind of romantic love is prohibited, right? And I think that's terrible, in my opinion, because one of the beautiful things about life, and of course this is my own experience, is to be able to fall in love, and part of that is sometimes having your heart broken, right? But that is part of the dance. And of course, not everybody is going to find love, but what's that famous quote? It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, right? And prohibiting yourself from having, what I'm trying to say is that prohibiting yourself from having certain experiences in your life prevents you from fully getting a taste of what it is, what it's like to be a spirit in this human body. And these are my beliefs, of course, but you know, I'm too tired to think today. I guess this video is off the cuff, like all of my videos, but it's just been one of those days where I'm too tired to think, and I wish I could follow an ascetic lifestyle where I don't have to engage in any kind of complex thinking or procedures in my mind or thought processes, because I'm living an ascetic lifestyle and I'm living a routine, right? That doesn't take too much thinking. Sometimes I crave that because I'm just like, man, that would be nice to just do one thing in the morning, do the next thing in the afternoon, and then do another thing in the evening, and then you're done, and do the same thing over and over again every single day. That sounds nice for a couple of days, but then I want to mix it up. But that's just me. I guess I'm too tired to think today, but I've been thinking this whole time, so what can I say? I guess by too tired to think, I mean too tired to try. To try and follow the rabbit hole of my mind. Sometimes it's very tantalizing and enticing to follow that rabbit hole and go into that, thought box, right? Like the Alice in Wonderland, you're falling into that rabbit hole and you're just experiencing and thinking and predicting and calculating and hypothesizing and doing all of that. Sometimes, I have to admit, sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's comforting. But sometimes it's too much for me. And I think today it's been too much for me to follow that rabbit hole. I think today is one of those days where I just want to not think and rest and not have my mind bother me. But I'll always have thoughts. And I try to carve out some time every morning to meditate and not have thoughts. But of course, during the meditation session, I have thoughts. But it's not really for spiritual reasons. It's more for pragmatic purposes, practical reasons. Because there is evidence that shows that meditation and things like prayer really help you to calm your mind and quiet your mind. So anyway, these are just my thoughts, my tired thoughts of the day. I hope you're having a nice day, and I hope you stay safe out there. Peace and love. Bye.